When I first saw the trailer for Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby, I was beyond myself. The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite novels of all time. I've probably read it 4 times, more than any other novel I've ever read. More than Harry Potter. And I love Baz Luhrmann. I love Leonardo DiCaprio and Baz Luhrmann. I remember William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet being the first film that really affected me deeply. I was 11. I will admit though, I had my apprehensions when I saw the casting. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire both seemed too old for the parts that they were playing. I thought I could probably get over it because I loved them both so much. And I thought Carey Mulligan was a perfect Daisy Buchanan. But that could just be because Carey Mulligan could play a fruit fly and I would love her. Unfortunately, this movie does so many things wrong. But before I talk about that, let me talk about what I did like about it. I really like that the movie starts off with Nick telling his story from a sanitarium recovering from alcoholism. I think this was true to the book's themes, how the lifestyle of the times really ran you down, and it was a pretty cool storytelling device to explain away the narrations. And the visuals are of course stunning. You expect that from a Baz Luhrmann movie. There's this beautiful effect during the apartment scene where the word afternoon is written out in wallpaper, and the 3D effect really just makes it really beautiful. But the apartment scene was problematic, and I'll get to that in a minute. I also really loved the soundtrack. Halfway through the movie, when you hear a jazzed up version of Beyonce's Crazy in Love, of course there are going to be some eye rolls. My sister was like, why do they have to keep doing this? And I kind of explained to her that when you go to a Baz Luhrmann film, you have to know that you're not going to be getting true to the time music. Like, you're going to be getting updated visuals, updated music. He really takes a story and modernizes it, and I think in a really interesting way. That's what I like about Baz Luhrmann movies, but I do understand that that's what a lot of people hate about Baz Luhrmann movies. But when I hear Lana Del Rey singing Young and Beautiful, it makes me want to love that love that Gatsby and Daisy have. Sadly though, that isn't the point of this story, which is the biggest problem with this movie. While the lines are almost entirely composed of actual dialogue from the book, the way those lines are delivered completely changed the theme of the book. A scene I remember being particularly atrocious was the notorious beautiful shirts scene. If you've read the book, you know what scene I'm talking about. They make Daisy seem like a sad woman who really regrets her life's choices, yet all she can manage is to say something about how pretty Gatsby's shirts are. I'm pretty sure Fitzgerald's Daisy was just really moved by some shirts. Daisy is flighty and destructive. She destroys anyone that comes close to her. Nick, Gatsby. This is a woman who mentions her daughter twice. Wants to feel sorry for herself and wants to parade her around in front of Gatsby to show him what a beautiful child she can create. After this movie, I really came to the conclusion that there isn't an actress stupid enough to play Daisy Buchanan. And remember that apartment scene I mentioned? Let's talk about how the way they gave that scene a Moulin Rouge style treatment really ruins a good chunk of the story. It's a sped up music montage type scene where the shocking action of Tom breaking Myrtle's nose is barely flitted over. The scene is pivotal to the story. That's how Wilson knows his wife is cheating on him. Plus, they left out my favorite line of the whole book. When Myrtle talks about how she originally joined Tom in their affair, she says to herself, "You only live once. You only live once." Myrtle Wilson, the original YOLOer. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire did seem too old for their parts, especially since they both mention the ages they are supposed to be. I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire, but I'm pushing 30 and you do not look 30. So now I'm getting to the spoiler part, so if you don't want to see those, click away now. I really did not like the end of this movie. It just shut the door on the whole thing for me. First of all, they make it seem like Daisy hits Myrtle by complete accident. While the accident in the novel is obviously not completely intentional, there does seem to be a sign that Daisy has some satisfaction in ending her husband's affair at the same time that she's closing out her own. Nick sees Tom and Daisy conspiring in the kitchen over fried chicken and beer, and we know they are putting this night behind them. In the movie, we see a remorseful, scared Daisy who needs to be rescued yet again. This isn't the Daisy of the novel. Usually Baz Luhrmann can bring me to my knees weeping with a death scene, but when Gatsby is shot, I almost laughed. I love Leo. Have I mentioned in this video that I love Leonardo DiCaprio? But his I just got shot face is always the same. Then the funeral scene literally has Tommy Maguire screaming, "Get out of here! Get the hell out of here!" I actually did laugh out loud in that part. Sorry, movie theater. As a fan of the novel, I can't say that I like this book because it really loses all criticism of the destruction and desperation, objectification, or the American dream causes. If you thought the book was boring or that the characters were unlikable, you would probably like this book, especially if you're just looking for a steamy love triangle flick with a creepy outsider. To each his own, though.